Welcome back to Dr. Walls and Friends with Outcha League hosts Matt and Miles. And before the break, we were talking about really their passion and their purpose and how it got them to this point right here.
Right.
And, it's been amazing. They have received sponsorship and invitations from, what's the name of the company again?
Pro Image Sports.
Pro Image Sports. Just wanted to give them another shout out so they can hear it coming out hear it coming out of your mouth. Yes. And so,
Appreciate that.
it's amazing because when you follow your passion, when you're living your life on purpose, all the doors that open up. But the first thing is you have to take a first step.
Yes.
And as we were talking off air, it wasn't always like this.
No.
There were things that happened in each of your lives which kind of led to this moment. So let's talk about that, because I think now in this state of the world that we're in, a lot of times when hard times happen, people lose faith, they lose hope.
Oh, yeah.
But it sounds like this was that light that you needed in the midst of darkness.
Yes. I know for myself, starting around 2008, times got a little testy for me.
Mm-hmm.
I started losing my faith, and it started gradually getting worse. The one consistent I had was like my father, my brother, of course, Miles. And at that time, my grandma was still living, and nobody ever made me feel like I couldn't do what I wanted to do. It was just mentally getting back on that horse and made sure that you were on point with what you were doing, not just doing things to do it. The fact, when I started working for the school district, it started to change it.
Okay.
Because I started realizing, like, wow, it's a lot of people out here that don't have anyone, and like little kids. So for me to see that and start praying again, getting my faith back together, and us talking, because it didn't just jump off overnight. It took years for us to get here. So once he hit me up like, oh, it's on, I'm like, yeah, I feel it.
Okay.
So for me, that's one of the things for me. I know Miles can tell you about some more things for him personally.
Yeah, like you said, starting in 2008, we started losing some major family members.
Okay.
And starting with Matt's mother, and rolling over to my mom's brother, Uncle Dawson, and that was within like 2 months.
Wow. And
fast forward to 2010, we had my niece, which is my oldest sister's daughter. She had took her own life at 16 years old.
Oh, goodness.
Fast forward 6 years on from there, 2016, my same niece that took her own life, her little brother was murdered.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was
a lot of loss in a little bit of time.
Our conversations between those years wasn't too good. We're at some point, sometimes we couldn't even hold each other up.
Yep.
And but we still here. And after my nephew passing, I just felt something beautiful was about to come about.
Wow.
Because we was just too damn. And just watch, you watch certain movies, you read certain books, and you just see certain things. Just watching people, how you probably think they would never come up from that situation.
Yes.
Right.
And you've seen them do it, but then, it's like the ball is in our court now.
That's right.
Yep.
And, let's see how this thing goes. Yeah. So,
that's right.
And here we are right
That's
now.
right.
And no matter what happened, from here on out, we'll never be that low again.
Yeah.
We'll never be that low again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we rocking with it.
I thank y'all so much for talking about that, because so many times men don't talk about those sensitive pieces.
Right.
You know, they don't come to mental health people. They don't admit it sometimes to each other, let alone to themselves.
Right.
And so for you two to take this time to talk about the tragic loss of, your niece taking her own life, to someone else taking your nephew's life,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And then just the general loss of family members over time and age and health
Right.
conditions.
Right.
These are things that we in human life experience.
Yes.
And unfortunately, some of those it doesn't seem like we have to, but we do,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And how you manage to maintain or regain hope.
Mhm.
You mentioned spirituality, faith during those times
Right.
that you continue to endure.
Right. Right. I mean, we have no other options.
Right.
Like, we have family members that said if anybody could do it in the family, it's y'all.
Wow.
So, just hearing stuff like that alone
Mm-hmm.
is past motivational.
Yeah.
That's, like you said, that's stuck in my soul now. That's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing the change, because it really felt like it changed overnight, but I know it was a process.
Right.
So the only thing I can tell people out there, if you're feeling down, if get help.
Yeah.
Try to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because there's people out there to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
There's people out there that care.
Yeah.
I mean, you always can feel like you're by yourself, but you're not the only person going through things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And it's the truth. And sometimes you want it from somebody and they don't give it to you, but it doesn't mean that you still can't get it.
right.
Everything that we need, we have access to. My husband always says everything that we need, we already have.
Mhm.
Sometimes we just keep looking for it in places where we're not supposed to get it from.
Right about that.
That's a great point.
You know?
Yeah.
And so, to your point, you know, I often, when people talk about death,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I'm comfortable with that topic.
Uh-huh.
And I say many times people talk about life after death, and
Right.
they're thinking about it for the person who is deceased, has
Right.
made that transition, but it's for those of us who are still living.
Yes.
Right.
How do we still continue to live and flourish after someone has made their transition? And so it's for us to live our lives.
Yes.
And I talk about it in my first book, The Greatest Soul Journey, that if we look at the word life, and the F stands for fullness,
Mhm.
and if you don't put the fullness in life, you're living what? An L-I-E. You're living a lie.
All right. That's
Right?
deep.
You
That's
want to shake a tambourine to that? There we go.
That's deep. That's deep. That was deep right there.
So it's
I like
important. And so Outcha League Sports flourished in the midst of this. This was a seed that was planted inside of all of you. And life brought some ish, right?
Right,
We know that
right.
ish is fertilizer.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah,
So
is.
it was, this seed was being nourished throughout all of the downtime.
Right.
And to your point, when you said it didn't come out of anywhere.
Right.
Let's talk about that. It didn't come out of, it took time. Because sometimes people see these podcasts, they see these shows, and they think people just sat down and did it.
And just did it.
No, there was a lot of preparation.
It was hours of talking, discussing what we going to do.
Talk about
how
it.
we going to handle
Yeah.
it.
Where we gonna start?
Where we going to start?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking about at least a year or two of prep.
Just really talking about it
Yeah.
before we jump out there. And it started let's create this page. We're gonna create this Instagram page. We'll create our YouTube page, and let's try Twitter. We never met. It's not on no social media
Till now.
You know,
Okay.
till now. So, it just started off with just posting sports clips and you know, just building up. And you know what, cuz let's go do an interview. So one day I went to go do an interview with a boxer, and the feedback started going even more. Certain questions about, you know, sports or leagues. I was like, oh, they were, you know, let's
Yeah.
all right, we out here for real now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so the preparation was pretty, not knowing where to start.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's way more simpler than than you think. Just you can start with a phone, you know.
Right.
You just go whatever you want to
Just
talk
start.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
just
start.
go and do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it is right there.
Matt,
Yeah.
you look like you have a thought going through your head.
Oh no, it was that simple for us. That simple, but it's not simple. Cause I have people now ask me like, man, how did y'all do this? Cause I wish I had something cause you happier than I've ever seen. I said, just do it. Whatever it is for you.
Yes.
Just do it.
Look in the camera
Just
and
sit
tell
there-
them that.
Just sit there, think about what you want to do for yourself. If you had somebody that can support you like I do, run with it. Hang around people like yourself. Don't hang around people that's not like you. That negative energy, if you got positive energy, they don't go together. You gotta stay around people that's just like you.
Yep.
That's all I can,
Yep.
for sure.
And even if you don't have somebody or don't know who they are yet, look in the mirror.
Yes.
Tell yourself,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Tell yourself
Yes.
that you can do it. Take that step
Believe
forward.
it.
Yes.
And don't feel bad for thinking you the greatest, because, alright, me and Cuz had a conversation about this. The rappers can boast about themselves, feel real good and all that, but as soon as one of us do it, it's like, who you think you? No, you be there.
That's right.
If you gotta believe that before anybody else will.
That's the truth.
You know.
You can't be the man if you're not a fan of your own.
Right.
That's right.
Enjoy
That's
your
right.
own stuff.
You know,
Yeah.
somebody once said, "Don't get high on your own supply." I get high on my own supply.
Overdose. Yes. Yeah.
On the goodness in your life.
That's right. That's right. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to tell the people where they can watch you, what they can be looking forward to.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment on Dr. Walls and Friends.